Hell yeah.
Oh, great. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great time.
Because guess what? We have a different fuck, marry, kill question that I could potentially put on the docket. But that's all to say. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
We need to clap. So, as usual, Bree, you don't clap. The three of us clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. So, 1, 2, 3. What, Bridget, were you prepared?
No.
What reviews connected by cast or crew, deciding the next film, that's the gist. Put it on the list.
There we go. All right.
I had it muted, and I was like, oh.
You had to speed run the clap. Just like... Anyway, hi, everyone. Welcome to Put It on the List, the film discussion podcast where every other week we discuss a movie that is connected to the previous movie we discussed by either cast or crew. My name is Jay.
My name is Bree.
I'm Evie, and I'm coming off of being sick.
Yay! Woo! And we also have someone else who's dealing with a different set of bullshit coming into this recording. You're muted.
I don't know if my daughter being a brat to the new baby is a bullshit and more of like, I am a bad parent.
There are puppies involved in this recording.
You are not a bad parent.
Yeah, it's because of COVID mainly, because she's a COVID puppy and didn't have interactions.
Yeah.
I mean, also just new puppy situations are always difficult to deal with.
Especially when you're getting them, like, not just used to your home, but another dog. That's, like, you're gonna have to get used to that.
Exactly.
Like, it's to be expected. Yeah, Bridget has a new puppy. Everyone, this is an audio podcast, but I want you to imagine a really cute puppy. That's Bridget's new puppy.
And Bridget is also currently holding up a photo of the Leon Kennedy tramp stamp.
It looks like he's wearing the Tifa outfit.
Kind of. Leon Kennedy tramp stamp outfit is like adjacent.
He doesn't look bad in it. I kind of like it. Anyway,
we're bouncing between so many subjects right now.
I want to know that a newer mod came out that replaces James from Silent Hill to Bloomberg to Shadow the Hedgehog.
Great.
Cool. It's a very long shadow, though, so it looks really bad.
Unless you want me to start hyper-fixating on Silent Hill 2 again for the next hour and a half, I suggest we move off of this
It's going to be a whole different podcast.
Put It on the List is a podcast about discussing movies.
Yes, and not video games. Until we start a Patreon where we make enough money
and make enough movies. We're
make enough movies. Make enough money that we could have like side recordings about games. Then we can do that. But for now,
what's the fuck, marry, kill?
Didn't even let me transition into we got icebreaker questions.
Yay! What are those?
Also, do we want to raw dog it immediately into the fuck, marry, kill, or do we want to like
we
ease
gotta
into
give it some time. We gotta ease in.
Listen. I put out calls for icebreaker questions on our Blue Sky. That's put it on the list.bsky.social. We have that where you can find us. We also have put it on the list.neocities.org, which is now an official website.
Yeah,
we have a website.
Hell
you know what else? We're available wherever you can find podcasts now.
That's right, bitches. We're on Apple Podcasts.
We're on Spotify. You can find us on iHeartRadio.
We're the real shit now.
Yeah,
you can't pretend
right.
otherwise.
Our website contains a skeleton that is from the game Killing Time.
It sure is.
It's amazing.
It's still a website under construction, but god damn it, it's a website.
It's a beautiful construction site.
But we have some icebreaker questions, and the first one is less of a question, more of a comment. Figured I would get it out of the way first. From Owen on Blue Sky, who asks, this is a comment, not a question. If I was given $1 billion to remake a movie, referencing the question we got from Cybert a couple episodes ago, I would give that billion to George Miller and tell him to make however many movies he could within that budget. He just needs to title all of them Babe, Pig in the City.
I think that's a good take.
Here's the question. Do you think that George Miller like tries to make it not necessarily all about Babe, Pig in the City, but every time is there going to be a character named Babe?
Yeah,
like,
it's like it's a multiverse.
Ooh. Yeah.
This is Babe
Here's the thing,
as a person.
You have to call it the same thing, but hear me out. When you go to the movie theater and you're like, I want to see the Joker movie, it's whatever Joker movie they're running now. They know that you don't know the real name of the thing. I can't even pronounce what the last one was called, and I didn't want to see it. But if I had, I would have been like, the Joker film? It's like that. With Star Wars, tickets for Star Wars, same deal. This whole thing would just be, I want to see the Babe movie. I want to see what happens in this one. Yeah.
I want to see the newest Babe.
Yeah,
this
so you don't really
one's a Western.
you don't really need to tell them apart. You can just go, the one for this year, the Babe from, reiterations.
The new Babe Pig in the City is a neo-noir film.
Oh, yeah.
It goes hard.
It goes ham.
This one's a Toho.
Wait. We need to take a moment to rewind to Brie making a shitty pun and giving me the best look she could have, like,
Oh my god.
Something that, just for the people listening at home, since we still don't have video here.
Yeah.
But thank you, Owen, for that comment.
Thank
now
you,
I can
Owen.
delete that
Very
from
pretty
the docket.
handwriting.
Yes, in this Google Doc form here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's switch over. It's the Halloween season.
It is.
It is the Halloween season, and thus we got a Halloween-themed question from one Hexagon Witch on Blue Sky, who asks, what is the scariest movie you have ever seen? And the follow-up, what is the least scary horror movie you have ever seen?
Oof.
And I think my most, this is my actual real answer to scariest horror movie I've ever seen. I don't know if anything will ever top me taking an edible and watching The Wolf House, which is like this stop motion, like South American horror movie. And just, there's a certain scene that happens in that movie that me gone off of an edible had me like curled up in the fetal position, gripping my legs, like no.
You in your gamer chair.
No.
I thought you looked like you were facing death. I had never seen you that terrified in your life. Granted, it was an assisted run, having the drugs on board, but I had never seen you more terrified by something ever.
Yeah,
that was clearly hitting you, and I've seen it. It's fucking horrifying.
No, yeah, sober, that movie still fucking sucks. But that's my answer for the scariest movie I think I've ever seen, personally.
For me, it's weird because, there's a lot of movies I love that are more slow burn dread. The things that are I don't know if I would call, was that Hereditary?
Yes.
Yeah, scary, but it's definitely a bad time. But it's in a good way. It's a good film. But I think if I really had to pick the scariest film I've seen, fuck. I saw the TV glow, probably, because it's what could have been. That's one of those, it hits me so close to home what could have happened that scares the shit out of me. I'm not really much one for whoa, scary things. They don't really do much to me. If you watch me stream horror games, you see I'm pretty unaffected. But I do like watching scary movies though, and I think the one that would have hit me the least, the one that would have hit me the fucking least, that was meant to be scary.
It's called Things.
I didn't see Things.
I feel
yes,
that. You did. Brie, you did see Things.
Did I?
You saw Things. That speaks to how unaffected. Here's the thing. I barely classify Things as a movie, let alone as a scary movie. Uh-huh. So I feel like I would disqualify that one from the conversation.
The question is least scary. Of course you're not going to be scared.
But I'm just saying, I barely classify that movie as a film. So I don't feel like that one factor. I'm not even considering that in the running.
I'll say maybe one of the Jason movies. I don't know, like all of the big, like, you know, Halloween, like, you know, one of the big, like, oh, this is the big scary movie. Those never have done anything for me. And I got dragged to one. I don't remember what year. I know they keep remaking it, but like, I saw that like at least more than 10 years ago, if I'm doing the gender math right. And I was like, I don't get it, man.
I like what do you qualify as the gender math?
Considering like the
For
time
people
around
that don't know what
before
that means.
Okay, more than a decade ago, I was not a female in the traditional sense. So I'm remembering that was the case when I saw it. So I'm going like that was kind of near there, but it wasn't there. So it was probably
so
about
this
like
isn't a
whichever one came out.
Jason
Like,
scenario.
no, yeah, this is just one of those like, you know,
Jason with fat titties.
yeah. But
I mean,
I'm
they
saying,
did
like,
that
this
with
is-
Hellraiser.
Like, horror movies just don't really hit me. I think all of them tend to not be, and the ones that are most effective are just the ones that give you a sense of lurking dread.
Psychological horror.
Yeah, psychological
Like, I
horror
think
is the way
those
to
still
go.
qualify as horror movies.
No, wait, I've got it. I know what is the least one. I know what's the least
Go for
scary
it.
one. Fucking, what's the one with the puppet?
The Boy?
The boy!
That was going to be one of my
Rocks
answers.
in the pockets.
Oh, I need to make us watch The Boy at
Oh
some
my
point
God.
and talk about that.
Oh.
Anyways, sorry. Gray and I have been taking up the majority of this conversation.
You go ahead. Those are my answers.
Bridget, Evie, either of you have an answer for these?
There are moments in horror movies like that will get me sometimes. There's like one French horror movie I saw once where someone like had their Achilles tendon cut like with bolt cutters or something, and it's like that's something that when I think about it, it's just like
Is that like the
that's so
Haunted
horrible.
Sean? Is that like the lesbian like kind of like grindhouse like horror movie high tension?
I don't think it's that. I can't remember, but anyway, like, but I think like the most like scared I've been from watching a movie is like I was a very sensitive child, and so when I would see there are very weird things that I saw as a youngin that really scared me. Like there was some movie of like The Guyver that I saw, some live action The Guyver movie that I saw that freaked me out pretty bad. There was When Mars Attacks was a thing that
like the 90s remake?
I mean, there's only one.
I remember
Yeah.
like the lady getting her finger bitten off fucked me up as a kid a bit.
well,
Like
it was
that was
just
where
like
it started being weird.
it was just seeing the little Martians, like their weird little skull faces and the eyeballs, and just yeah.
No, yeah, it definitely had an effect on me as a kid. It was definitely one of those things of the time that was just like, what the fuck?
Not to get too off topic, but like I think everyone, including everyone on this podcast, has that weird movie related thing not tied to an actual horror movie that like just a innate phobia that like nailed themselves into our brain for like the majority of our adolescence, and then at a certain point we got past it and are like, what the fuck was wrong? Like for me, it was the VHS cover of The Mask. That scared the shit out of me as a kid. My family would literally taunt me by like saying lines that The Mask says because that image of him on the VHS cover, like it unnerved the shit out of me as a child. My brother, one of my brothers actually, was deeply terrified of E.T. like as a baby. Like he fucking could not stand to look at E.T.
God
and had
damn.
a similar reaction that I did with The Mask.
I think for me it was playing like Game Boy Camera and having that weird rocker show up out of nowhere with the fucked up face, and it was like, and that like really fucked me up for some reason, just hearing the Game Boy make those like almost like like breaking sounds, and that fucked me up. I don't know why, but that kind of stuck with me, and that face, I was like, it's gonna come into my room and kill me.
Anyway, Evie, least scary horror movie that you've seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I think the thing, if it's a like a horror movie that I didn't find scary or like engaging at all, I wouldn't remember it.
Bridget, what's the scariest horror movie you've ever seen?
The scariest horror movie I've ever seen was probably when I was young. I saw somebody from the family rented a VHS tape of the hit movie Ticks, which is a horror movie about giant ticks growing inside you and then splitting you apart.
That does sound unnerving. That does sound like something that would be unpleasant.
I've never heard of this film before.
We watched that, and then we and then I also remember seeing Jack Frost, the
holographic cover.
The horror movie, not the one they would make later.
Here's the thing. I remember seeing that holographic cover in all of the Blockbusters when I would like rent games on Tuesdays with my father for the SNES. And then like I remember one time at school we watched Jack Frost and I was like, what the fuck is this? I thought this was gonna be scary. What the fuck was the point of that whole... I didn't know. I was like, what's happening?
You want to talk about a scary VHS cover? The Jack Frost cover is like actually kind of... Similarly to the Mask VHS cover, that was one that I would like cover my eyes as I would pass by it in the Blockbuster because I would not want to see it.
It just kind of reminded me of Clay Fighter. It was just like, evil angry snowman. It's like,
sure.
No big deal for me. But it was still kind of funny.
Sculpture's cut.
Yeah, Killer Mr.
Frosty.
That's my feelings about Clay Fighter.
Yeah, knowing what we do now, especially so. But moving on.
By least scary horror movie, do you mean the inverse of being the most funny horror movie?
No, I think we're like, if it inadvertently is funny, that's fine. But I think we are looking for something that is trying to scare you and just failing miserably.
Okay, so Trolls 2.
Got
Got
it. There you go.
Okay.
That is a movie that is very funny, but is theoretically supposed to be scary.
Like, I think for me so far, I haven't seen enough trash horror movies, but I've seen the two for me. It's The Boy or The Thing. Or not The Thing, sorry. Or The Bye-Bye Man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, The Bye-Bye Man was great because you can see every single beat it's trying to do in terms of like jump scares and things like that, and it's just like none of this works.
Don't think it, don't say it.
Like,
Bye-bye man.
Like that's the thing. You get it's trying to have like the mimetic quality of like a thing that like is supposed to stick with you after the movie. None of that lands. It has all of these like telegraphed jump scares that you think are gonna happen, and like none of it works. It just fails broadly across the board, and as a result it ends up becoming funny. Like I think that's more what the question is probably asking about, is things that are definitely aiming to be scary but just tripped over themselves so much.
Really, jump scares are cheap too, because I don't remember who the comedian was, but someone once said a jump scare to elicit fear is like, say, you're saying like, I'm scary, and my film's scary, is like tickling someone and going, I'm funny. It's like, that's not, you're eliciting a fucking bodily response. You're not actually writing fear.
Oh, like the tickling clowns from Killing Time.
Precisely. If a clown tickles me, I'm putting a gun in its mouth and blowing its brains all over the wall. No one touch me. I gotta think about that. But yeah, so that's that.
Speaking of horror movies.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What's up?
Just I was at a trunk or treat event where I was around a bunch of strange children recently.
Yeah,
and that's how I got sick.
So you were telling us about that because we had never heard of the idea.
Y'all never heard of
trunk
trunk or treating.
So for the people listening who maybe don't know what that is, could you explain trunk or treating for us?
Yeah. So we can presume that people are aware of trick or treating, where the conception is that you would send your children around the neighborhood to go pick up Halloween candy or whatever. But in today's culture, that is like, your suburban parents don't go for that anymore. So instead they take their children to trunk or treat events, which is like a bunch of adults at like a church or like a local small business or whatever will line up their cars and pop their trunks and like give candy out from the back of these trunks, and they'll like do it up in like some kind of themed thing. So you don't have to let your kids out of your sight, and you can just like take them to a place where there's a bunch of nominally respectable adults handing out candy to them.
A bunch of children in open trunks. Very safe. Yeah,
that was the immediate thing that Bree and I like hopped to when Evie recounted this to us. It's just like, that seems more unsafe than like sending them up to strangers' houses, because then they just have a way to drive away.
Yeah, the important thing is that your kids are with you this whole time. So like, no one's gonna like.
I got lots of candy to
shove a kid in and then drive off.
Meet Rasco, King of the Everglades.
So what was weird about these kids you had to be around on this family outing?
Yeah, what was the horror movie in that?
What did they dress up as? What was the hot commodity?
Okay, that is part of the point I was going to get to. But aside from that, I did see a couple of like Hatsune Miku kids, which was fun.
Okay.
For the future?
Yeah, more weebs.
What?
Let's go.
More weebs isn't necessarily a good thing. There's bad weebs.
It's our job as the elder weebs to teach them to be good weebs. But sorry, go ahead.
I don't care for this line of.
Yeah.
sorry. Finish your story.
But yeah, like this was taking place by like a Pentecostal church, like on the way out of town. So it was like semi-rural.
What's the Vatican's view of Miku?
So I don't know if the Pentecostal folks like really have much of a conception of what the Vatican is about.
I don't think, Bridget, that there's any tie between those two things. This isn't happening in a Catholic church parking lot.
No, this is a church that's like, it's like it would, if it were a church, it would be a warehouse. Like, it's that kind of building. But they
punk shows are happening there on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah, if they weren't dogmatically opposed to the concept of punk shows, I bet that would be happening. But they were putting on a nice trunk or treat where they had popcorn and hot dogs for the kids or whatever. So I did see a kid, there was a kid running around in a store-bought Art the Clown Terrifier costume.
Oh my god!
Which makes me think, just is that's a thing now? Huh? I guess Terrifier is it's there.
If you are showing anyone under the age of 18 Terrifier as an adult, you should probably be put into a jail for a night.
This kid was way south of 18. That's not even close. It was a young
We need
child.
to give him back to respectable clowns like Doink.
Doink is not a respectable clown.
A clown whose movie doesn't feature the amounts of gore that are making people throw up in the theaters. You should not be. Hopefully that was just a parent who was it would be funny to put this on my kid.
Yeah,
Not
just that's a creepy clown.
Him and
There's two ways to take in media as a child, though. There's two ways. One of which is you'll absorb it and it'll traumatize you, and the more common one is you have no sense of like fear or like the reality of what everything is, like in the weight of what's happening, so you can look at it and go like, oh, cool, violence. And for me, there were some things like that where I looked at them later. I was like, why the fuck was I allowed within 50 feet of this? And the reality was because I had no reality to base off why it was so fucked up.
I feel like Terrifier is something that goes a level beyond like the things that you're talking about here.
I haven't
like
seen it.
It is literally just like a gore fest movie, just like people getting killed in like genuinely horrific ways, like in
so it's the Genocyber of
in unnecessarily cruel ways that are drawn out over the course of like 20 minutes.
Not as worried about the Miku kids now, are we?
Anyway,
I was never worried about the Miku kids.
No, they got it. They figured it out. They're gonna grow up to sing.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Getting focused on the Art the Clown thing might have derailed it. Was there more to that, or was that where the?
No, like I was just surprised that like that
an audience for that.
Yeah, that like there was like a molded plastic mask that looked like the clown and everything. It's just
I mean,
I guess that's like
that movie, that franchise has become weirdly successful. Like that Terrifier 3 was the #1 movie in the US over the weekend that the new Joker movie came out.
To be fair, I don't think it's hard.
But that's still fucking weird. That's a weird reality that we live in. That is like some low-level grindhouse thing in the 70s, like doing better in the box office than like The Godfather or something like that. Where you're just
Are you referring to the Joker 2 as The Godfather?
No, I'm just trying to say something that has like more of a broad appeal to it. Or something that's meant to have a broad appeal to it. Bridget, regardless of how much you dislike the Joker films, the original Joker movie made $1 billion. That is a movie that had a broad appeal.
This one, the second one, has more of a broad appeal. And what a broad it is.
Moving on from that. All right.
I heard there was a fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
Doesn't sound like a good one.
From Owen.
Shoutouts to Owen.
Oh,
Thank you, Owen.
Thank you.
He says, I stole this fuck, marry, kill from a different podcast. Ben Schwartz's Sonic, Chris Pratt's Mario, Ryan Reynolds' Detective Pikachu. Here's the thing. You fuck Ben Schwartz's Sonic because at least it's over quick.
All right, moving on. Good question.
So there's an inherent problem with this question. For one, Sonic is a child.
Damn it. Oh no.
So we kill Sonic. We kill Sonic, right? And then Mario, I guess, you know, he's dedicated. I guess I would marry Mario. I would marry Mario and try to forget that he's Chris Pratt. And I would I'd probably fuck Detective Pikachu.
Check out
Listen,
my
I don't know
mushroom.
I don't know if any of y'all have ever done
Wait.
a Pokemon Smasher Pass, but I am not getting into heaven if there is one. Okay, so I'm already open to this.
Yeah.
We're assuming
I don't
that
know
Pokemon
about
are
Pikachu,
friends and
Mr. Mime,
consenting,
though.
and you know, so that's okay. Not Mr. Mime. I'm not fucking a clown. I'm sorry, I won't do it.
You fuck a clown every night.
I don't want that clussy. We're
Yes, you
jokesters.
do.
We're comedians.
One of
We're
your
not clowns.
I remember one of the highlights of Wife City was the Clussy.
To be fair, Clussy was my doing.
We were up one night, like laughing our asses off at the concept of like squirting.
You can't
like a
be
squirt
ashamed
bottle.
of what
Oh
you've
my
created.
God,
It's like a bow tie, like,
we We can't get into that
So
right
this
now.
fuck, marry, kill has already just totally been.
Listen,
I gave my answer.
I gave the joke that that was the only thing I had the energy to do.
Well, I dedicated myself. Is anyone else going to actually
Evie,
take on the challenge?
Do you have an answer, Evie?
No.
You abstain.
Not gonna answer it. Nope.
Am I the bad person or the brave person? Comment in our, if this is on the YouTube. Comment.
Bridget, do you have an answer?
Well, obviously, one of them is auto knocked out of even being an option.
So kill.
Wait. So it's Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mario is technically the only person of like true adulthood. Pikachu.
Hold on. Detective Pikachu, that's a grown ass man. Detective
not even a
Pikachu is a grown ass
grown-ass man.
man.
He's a
Yeah,
detective.
he's a
He has
grown-ass
a
man.
family.
You remember when Pokemon
That's
came
more
out? He
of
is
like
of age.
reincarnated and like his soul put into a Pikachu. I was about to get there. It's a little wishy-washy on that one.
If I were the type to like use quotes from this episode as like titles for the episodes, Evie saying Detective Pikachu is a grown-ass man, he has a family would probably be the name of this episode.
It's the tagline anyway. Oh my god. Moving on.
Sorry, no, I got too distracted. I didn't hear what I got like fucking left hooked by Evie saying that, so I lost track of what was happening. What was your answer, Bridget? So you're killing Sonic and you're choosing
I'm not
between
killing a
Mario and
child!
Detective Pikachu.
I'm not doing any. Sonic is he ran away.
If you're considering fucking or marrying Detective Pikachu, I don't think the morality of murdering a child is factoring into
you
this.
You haven't let me finish.
Yeah, let her cook.
I said I'm not sure about anything with Pikachu because sure, the soul is a grown-ass man, but that body ain't.
There's a lot of anime fans that would probably disagree with you. but I get
Okay,
what
we
you're
don't
saying.
need to get into that. That's an entirely different conversation.
Well, I mean, it
Stay
sounds like what
focused.
we're talking about.
Stay-
So I guess I
Pikachu
fuck
is an
marry,
anime.
kill Mario.
Focus.
All three gets to go to him. He's the only option.
Fuck him, marry him, and kill him.
This month on How to Catch a Murderer.
I gave a real fucking answer. Anyway, moving on. Anything else you want to...
I don't think we're coming back from that.
No. A palate cleanser.
Oh god. Okay, so we have to transition into talking about an actual movie.
Yeah. Collateral.
Yes, this week, based off of last week, Evie had us watch Deep Cover, directed by Bill Duke. Fantastic movie. And off of that, I transitioned from the guy who did stunts in Deep Cover to he also did stunts in Collateral. Michael Mann's 2004 film Collateral, which is honestly a pretty easy movie to just like tersely summarize.
Oh, yeah.
It is about a taxi driver named Max, played by Jamie Foxx, who one night picks up a client who's named Vincent to not to his knowledge, knowing that Vincent is a hitman and is basically bought Max out for the night to drive him around to like 5 different hits around the city that he has to do.
Chaos ensues.
Yeah, more or less chaos ensues. Really, the better way to talk... Well, there's 2 ways to talk about this movie.
Okay.
You talk about this movie as either, 1, a character study. Mm-hmm. You focus in on like the 2 primary characters, Max, Vincent, the way that they change each other's like life, the way that they see the world and
A buddy
act on
comedy.
things. I guess it's comedic in points.
Yeah.
Or number 2, you talk about it as someone who is playing a sunk cost fallacy Hitman 2 level over the course of one night.
That's a very good way to put it.
Because that essentially is what happens over the course of this movie. So, you know, you have Max picks up Vincent. The main reason that he finds out that Vincent is a hitman is like at his first stop, he pulls into the back alley behind where Vincent is doing the hit, and the guy that he does the hit on falls and jumps out the fucking window of his apartment and lands on top of Max's cab. And if that isn't a moment of like, I can't save, I'm not save scumming this level.
Yeah.
I got the target that I need, I'm moving on. That I don't know what is.
That's a really good way to view it.
To actually talk about the movie, you know.
Sure.
We start off in the airport with Vincent arriving in LA, where, you know, he's in LAX, or I don't even know if it's necessarily supposed to be LAX. It might be LAX, it might be the Los Angeles, or the Long Beach airport. So
she's a stickler. She's from LA.
That's the thing, is like a big part of why I love this movie so much is because it is so strongly a Los Angeles ass movie, and kind of about Michael Mann's love-hate relationship with that city. Like, I think Max and Vincent are two sides of the like love and hate of LA that Michael Mann feels in his heart. Like the spectrum that waffles between
the two wolves inside him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hop too far ahead, but like the first conversation you have between Max and Vincent is like Max immediately pegs Vincent as being like, oh, are you from LA? And Vincent's like, no, I fucking hate it. Every time I come to the city, I cannot wait to leave. And he's like describing the exact reasons why he hates the city. It's like, it's too sprawled out, too, like, you can't get around super easy. It's a city of like 17 million people and no one knows each other. He tells the story that like every kind of fear monger about like major metropolitan areas does, where it's like, oh yeah, a guy dies on like the light rail line around the city and no one finds him for like 6 hours.
He's just doing loops around the city.
Yeah.
It echoes, you know, the whole Kitty Genovese thing, where, you know, she was stabbed and dying, and like nobody helped her. Like, is the way that's like that has been like kind of remembered. And it's just like it's that same kind of idea. Where it's just like the city as a place where like it is extremely like impersonal.
Yeah, and then Max is very much the opposite side of that. Not so much in everything that he says, but just in the way that he like acts throughout the movie, which is a really interesting thing to get into with the way that Max changes throughout the movie. But I feel like if I start talking about that, I get too far ahead of the plot.
Definitely.
Which, so to circle back, you got Vincent arriving at the airport, and then, you know, he crosses paths with Jason Statham's the transporter, who hands off who they like pretend to bump into each other so they could do like a suitcase exchange. And he's just like, you good, mate? It's like, yeah, I'm good. Enjoy LA. Like, I love that. It's so funny that Michael Mann considers that like a transporter like crossover, because
he's in it for like 30 seconds. Truly.
Yeah, he's in it for 30 seconds, and Michael Mann is such an interesting filmmaker in the sense that like I do very strongly consider him to be an auteur, but he seems like a very like an auteur who like relishes in like low taste things in some ways, because the transporter is fucking stupid. That is a dumb ass action movie.
Yes, it is.
Meanwhile, you have like Michael Mann making something like Heat, which is like the sprawling like 3-hour epic like action thriller that's like considered one of the greatest movies of all time. And it's just like, oh yeah, you know, you can love schlock and also make good things. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Absolutely.
But anyways, you know, you have that like little thing there, and we leave Vincent for like a solid 10 minutes or something like that, because now we get introduced to Max at like the cabbie station, and you know, you have your first moment of like building Los Angeles up as a character in the film, because LA is like such, well, every major metropolitan area is like this, but LA especially so, because of like how close it is to like the border, like between, you know, the United States and Mexico, and also like as a hub for a lot of like East Asian communities, like around World War II, around like the gold rush and things like that. Like you have a heavy crossover, so you know, you have all these details of like there being like that giant mural on the wall, like people speaking in Spanish. Max, in one of his first interactions, is like speaking to a dude in Spanish, so he's like bilingual and everything. You're seeing like newspapers and like Korean food marks, like Arabic like newspaper headlines and stuff like that. Like it is establishing it like, you know, it's a big fucking city,
yeah,
but it is a city that is so strong in all of the communities that live within it.
Strong melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, amongst all that, we have Max like getting into his cab, wiping it down, and then finally closing the door and just shutting out all that fucking noise, which is a really phenomenal cut of just like when you get into your zone and you're able to just shut all the noise of the outside world out. You're like, okay, let's get down to work.
Well, he does have his vacation spot, his you know, his
daydream stage. So yes, he, in like the little like rear view mirror flap that you can bring down in the driver's seat, like he has like a photo of like a little beautiful like Caribbean isle or something like that, just a single Polaroid of that he looks to as like his piece. And you see it in like his first cab ride, which is some fucking arguing couple talking about inane bullshit, yelling at each other, and you see him like kind of exhale to himself, like flips it down and just looks up to it for a second, like, yeah,
that little desert island. All right,
everything is okay. I'm centered. It's his comfort blanket. But what you have is his second ride. He picks up Jada Pinkett Smith, who's like playing this U.S. district attorney, who's like, the movie makes a point of saying like, oh, she's working this really big case. Put a pin in that. It's gonna come back around at the end of the film. But like, one of my favorite details about Max as a character is that part in the conversation where like him and Jada Pinkett, what's her character's name in the film? Shit.
Fuck, I don't remember. Oh no.
Is it Annie?
I think it's Annie. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's Annie. But yes, his conversation with Annie, and like they're like having a conversation about specifically like the way that she approaches those big cases, and she talks about how like she pulls an all-nighter, she like starts panicking about making sure that everything is like just right with the case, and like
the fear that she'll be laughed at in the courtroom.
Yeah, and you know, she eventually like kind of buckles up. She doesn't throw up. A lot of people throw up, but she doesn't throw up. And he just like spends a beat looking at her and then says, "You need a vacation." and like, she's like, I just had one on the highway with you, and he's like, no, like you need to actually like go on vacation, like get your fucking head straight. And she's like, when's the last time you took one? He's like, I take one every day, and pulls down the thing. It's like, buddy, that's not the same. You need to take a fucking vacation. Like, it's clear that, like, especially when you end up finding out that he's been doing this like taxi thing for like 12 years straight.
He's gonna start a limo business.
Oh my god.
He's gonna do it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be like it's like its own cruise. It's like an experience.
A cool groove.
It's a cool groove. It's a whole experience.
They never want to get out of the limo once they're in it. It's gonna be that good.
That's gonna be my little
The vibes
service.
are gonna be so chill.
Bridget, you look like you had something to say. What were you gonna say? Chime in with.
Oh, I remember. He can dish it, but he can't take it.
Yes, and we definitely see that once we get into the relationship between him and Vincent.
Yeah,
like he is definitely a talk. It seems at first that early in the film, Max is very much a talker instead of an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly over the course of the film becomes more acting over talking, which they kind of established that in the next thing, which is after he drops off Jada Pinkett gives him like her business card, being like, oh yeah, give me a call if you want to like argue about like cab routes or something like that, basically saying like, call me and ask me on a date, dumbass.
Yeah.
Type deal. But after that, Vincent arrives in his cab, and it's very... I love the fact that, like, the difference in the conversation that Max has with Annie versus the conversation he has with Vincent, because I kind of relate to that so much. Like, as someone who doesn't tend to be like very open and talkative, like a lot of the times in conversations, if I find that person randomly in the world that I like really kind of vibe with, I'm like ready to go. Like, yeah, let's fucking talk about shit. Let me talk about like ideas that I have for the future, like stuff like that. Like Max feels like he is like flowering, blossoming in that conversation he's having with Annie, partially because he's kind of a bullshitter.
Yeah.
But also like Vincent comes in the car and he becomes like way more cagey. And like I relate to that so strongly, where it's just like like Vincent tries to poke at him, like ask like, oh yeah, how long have you been like been a cabbie? And like he just very bluntly is like, it's a temporary thing. How long have you been doing it? 12 years. It's like,
I guess like, as someone who drove for like I guess half the time that Max did, I spent like 6 years working for Uber, and I don't recommend it. But I would very much end up in situations where like you would have these things where like, oh, really friendly ride, you're having good vibes, and then like someone like him will come in and it's like everything's fucked. And
you can
just
read
like,
it.
Yeah, and it's just like, because I wouldn't say that I feel like I'm not the most like hyper friendly talkative person in the world, but then like when given the chance to, I do that despite not having the spoons for it. You know, I find that I get too burnt out if I'm too open. I try not to overshare, but the minute someone's like friendly, wants to talk, I'm open. I'll talk with people. I do it. Yeah. So when you are immediately then met with like that wall, and you're just like, you run into someone who's just there to poke at it and make trouble, and you're like, all right, well, I really wish you'd just come in here and not said anything. You know? I love the people who just put on headphones and shut up. You know, I mean, it was my favorite. Because I didn't have to wonder.
Returning to the, like, it's just temporary. How long have you been doing it? 12 years.
12 years.
Line. That's another thing. So, for context of this movie, this was, like, effectively the first real movie that I saw. Like, at least in theaters. like I had seen like Ghibli movies or maybe like other real movies like on TV at home, but Collateral I think was the first movie I made like a conscious decision to go see in a theater, and was like kind of blown away at that film. And I think that kind of idea of Max as a character is something that has really stuck with me for a long time, because I was basically Max at a point where like I fucking pushed carts in a Target parking lot for 10 years, essentially like just constantly telling myself the whole time like, it's only temporary, you know. I'll move on to something else, you know. I'm going to school, like I'm gonna, you know, do music, do something like that that's gonna get me out of here. But I never actually fucking did the thing. So his arc has always like really strong, has in my returning to the film, because I only saw it that once before recently coming back to it and finding out like, oh, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
There you go.
And seeing that arc in his character with all that hindsight in my mind is like, oh fuck yeah, that was me at a certain point. Like, yeah, you do have to act eventually. You can't just talk a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, one of the highlights from that conversation with him and Vincent is like him kind of like dancing around the limousine topic, and Vincent kind of like prodding him, saying like, yeah, you're the type of guy who takes action instead of just talks. Like, do you think that Vincent is bullshitting him there, or do you think he actually is like reading Max as being a doer instead of a talker?
I think he's bullshitting him.
How about you two? What do you think?
I think he actually I don't think he's bullshitting him, because like kind of the read that Max ends up having of Vincent is like you don't actually know what people are thinking a lot of the time. Like, so I can believe that he doesn't see like the caginess that Max has around his future plans.
That's a fair point.
And it's what makes I'm so happy you pointed that out here, because Vincent is maybe one of my favorite like antagonistic characters I think I have ever seen in a movie now, just because he is such a weird contradiction of like ideals and like expressions of those ideals over the course of the movie. Because yeah, it is, I do think that he's not quite bullshitting him in that moment. Like, I think he's kind of, it's less that he's bullshitting him, and it's more that he's only kind of he's not fully there in the conversation that he is having with Max. Like, you can see he's like working on his like tablet.
That's true. He's kind of in his head about the job that he's doing.
Yeah. Like, there's things that he takes note of. Like, his head perks up when like he gets like the perfection with which that like Max kind of works his taxiing. Like when he's able to give him that like exact time frame of like, oh, it's going to be 7 minutes. Like, Vincent perks up is like 7, not 6, not 8, but 7. You don't mind if I time you? And it's just like, no, yeah, like you see that there's things in his interactions with people that he like zeroes in on, but there's so much in the nuance of people that he like that just kind of like slips by him, that he does not quite catch on to. And I find that like as that kind of becomes more and more apparent as you go through the movie, it's what makes Vincent so fucking compelling.
He's my neurodivergent representation hitman, and I love him. And you know, but it's just So, you know, and that's the thing though, his character like he's not all bad. You know, there is a scene like right after that, because we'll get into like at that first hit that happens, guy falls out the window, fucks up the cab. Max is getting like word from his boss.
Let's finally lay out the final thing that kind of like locks Max into the deal. Is, you know, he pulls Vincent up to that first stop, and Vincent pulls out like $700 and is like, hey, drive me around for the whole night and I will pay you like all this money for that. And Max is like, okay, fine, I'll take care of you on that.
$700 was a lot of money back then. So
there are certain shots like at like a gas station later on where you can see it's like $2 a gallon, and you're like, oh, we need to go back. We gotta go back. But yeah, so he does that. He pulls around behind the apartment building they stopped in front of, and then the body falls on the thing. Vincent is like, no, yeah, I killed that guy. Pulls out gun, get in the fucking taxi.
Yeah.
You are now in this deal.
Yeah.
Anyways, now you can continue on.
So then, you know, of course, Max is getting radioed by his, you know, the guy at the taxi place. You know, his boss is yelling at him. And you know, he's mentioning that like the car got damaged.
That's not until after the cops.
Is that?
I
feel like that there's like a reprisal of it after that.
Well, there's two different boss conversations that happen. So, you know, they leave the first hit area and they like pretty much immediately get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason the guy calls
That's
him.
right, because the guy kind of like, you know, hit this guy's car, and the windshield's you know, car is busted to shit.
Yeah,
it's busted to shit.
That cab's busted as shit.
Cab's busted to shit.
No, wait, it's the roof.
The roof is busted.
The roof's all busted shit. So they pull up. We'll get to that. They pull up, and you know they're pulled over, and they're like, you know, hey, you know, you got like a busted windshield. Is this like a passenger? Why are you driving someone if you have a messed up windshield?
We're gonna have to impound your car, open the trunk.
So Vincent's like, if you open that trunk, they're going in.
Great line.
I love it. So they almost get to the point of opening that thing after running the plates and everything, and then they get a call that, you know, there's recently been a shooting somewhere on a higher up floor near a window that they need to go check out. I wonder who. And so they're like, all right, you got lucky. Listen, just go to bring that immediately to the station and, you know, like get a new cab. And they...
I want to pause real quick on that because we can get to it later, but I kind of love that the whole Mark Ruffalo side plot is effectively this fucking like tragic comedy of errors.
Yeah.
Like the whole way through. Like I don't know. We'll get to it later, but foreshadowing. Yeah. You know. Did you have but yeah, so you know, they move along. Then like I think it's before the second hit. Yeah. They continue along to the second hit, and before Vincent leaves, he fucking zip ties Max to the wheel because he's like, well, you won't drive away if I just kind of leave you here, so let me fix that.
But so that I believe is when the boss contacts him, right?
Boss contacts him.
He's going, hey, I heard there were some cops, like they said that your cab's busted up. What the hell's going on out there? That's coming out of your pay. You're paying for it. He's just like, that's not my fault. He's like, I don't care. You think I give a shit? You're paying for that. So while he's having him handle this, because you know because he's zip tied, like, you know, he's holding his thing up to him, you know, his little like speaker, going like, tell him it's fine. When he hears that, he just like he pretends to be like Vincent just goes, hi, this is an attorney. I'm the guy riding with him. What did you just say? You know damn well you're supposed to cover that. He doesn't have to pay shit. Yeah. And he just starts like basically running this man to shit, and he forces Max to tell him to fuck off. Yeah. And like he makes the guy back down and like tells him the law and says, no, you're not gonna fucking do that. Like, how dare you try to take advantage of a working man? I should fucking have you. And he's just going off on this dude, and he makes Max nut up.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Evie?
Yeah, a detail that I love is that he tells the boss that he's a U.S. attorney because he looks up at the sun visor and sees the business card from Annie. Like, that's extremely good.
there's so many like nice little details in that film that are just so...
The more I hadn't even considered that too, how he brings that up later. Oh my god. So
like that's the reason why I'm getting bogged down in like all the minutia, because the minutia is what like really informs like the two characters throughout the film. But to rewind a little bit, between them leaving the first hit and the second hit, we cut to Mark Ruffalo looking the most non-Mark Ruffalo he has ever looked in a movie, as like an undercover cop who like he was working the guy that Vincent killed on that first hit. And this movie, to talk briefly about the visuals, this movie is so fucking dark that Evie, you were thinking initially you saw Mark Ruffalo having a ponytail in that introduction scene.
Yes.
And then when we see him later on and you don't see a ponytail, you're like, I need you to pull it back to the beginning so I can make sure he didn't have a ponytail.
Yeah, I just need to make sure. Yeah,
zoom and enhance.
Yeah, there was no ponytail, but he looks like he should have a ponytail.
He does, to be fair.
And also is just like you said, this movie is shot to where it is very dark because it's entirely LA at night.
It's entirely LA at night, and it's early digital filmmaking too, which...
And the lighting is still really good. The look of this film is insane. The entire aesthetic.
Well, the lighting of the movie is insane because, and everyone who talks about this movie nowadays talks about this detail, is like the big like advantage to shooting digitally is like dark fucking pops.
Yeah.
In digital, versus like in
blank
like,
film grain, kind of like,
because you can like control the gain of stuff, so you can make like images really noisy or really quiet. The movie pops so fucking hard because of that early digital, and it
looks so good.
I love how this movie looks. One, because LA at night really does pop in that kind of way. Kind of going back to the personal tie that I have to this movie, one of my No, you're not doing the thing that you do to your dad. For context sake, Bree's dad has a bad habit of like say like, oh, back in my days, and
he's about to tell a story, so then I'll just start up the Fletcher films,
and then I would add a layer on it by pretending like walking around like I was a rubber hose like cartoon character while he would tell the story. Anyways,
so way back in the a few years ago, before
basically the it's just a strong visual I have as a child of like whenever we would like leave town like up north and like be driving back into Los Angeles, it would usually be we were driving back at night, and like the way that city pops at night coming back from like out of town, there is like a certain like magic and mystique to it that really pulls you in. But also there's just like so many details in the LA skyline. Like the main detail for me is like in every shot you see of like someone talk like on a phone or in a building that's like on an elevated floor, you see a fucking helicopter like out patrolling the streets of LA.
That's a part of it.
That's so fucking real. Like Los Angeles is one of those cities where because it is so heavily like populated and so heavily policed, there's going to be a fucking helicopter up in the sky, like just kind of spotlight out looking at things. And that is one of those like defining characteristics that really makes it like true authentic LA cinema to me. But yeah.
The only thing unrealistic in this film is the complete lack of traffic.
Well, so it was a different time.
Oh, I guess.
It was 2004. It was when LA was way less populated than it is like as you got later and later. 2, this is like taking place at like 2 a.m. Like it is late at night, and its traffic isn't usually that bad. But also, yes, it is like not densely like populated in terms of traffic during like the scenes where you're like in the car.
Yeah.
However, whenever they cut to those like overhead shots on the freeway,
there's suddenly cars.
You'll see cars.
Yeah.
But it's fine. But
there are a lot of shots that rely on there just being no cars and no people, no anything in the street. And it's
there are times like that in LA, like even downtown LA, where you are driving around and it feels like you are the only person. Like it kind of goes into that part, the scene everyone makes fun of in that movie where like they're driving down the street and see the 2 coyotes pass.
I love that scene.
I mean, it's a great scene.
It's such a good scene.
But like Los Angeles at night can have that fucking ethereal quality where you're driving through and it feels like the city is like abandoned. Despite the fact that there are 17 million people in that city, it feels like a ghost town. And like it... Sorry, there's a dog in front of Bridget's webcam. But yeah,
you know what they say, LA, the city that always sleeps.
Exactly. but yeah, but you know it's not like uninhabited. It becomes an almost like liminal space. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. Penny is currently getting into Bridget's paper towels.
There is a very cute puppy on the camera right now. But anyway, but yeah, no, I mean, I guess I get what you mean. There were certain times that I was brought down.
You can tell she's upset 'cause she has a skrunt face. You can see she has like a little...
The listeners can't see it, but
I can see it. Like when her lips like point down like this and she's like
So anyway, but I did have a couple of wannabe actress friends who would occasionally drag me out to LA so they could do a part or do whatever, or meet friends and go party at like 2 a.m. So I did occasionally get some of those where it's like I kind of get what they're going for. It's just I had never seen that much freeway with nothing. Like the freeways with I'm like, I don't know. But like that, it's a movie. You know, I give it that. It's a movie.
Anyways.
If it had taken place in the day, this whole thing would have taken like 3 weeks. I have to say that.
But also, like, to hear, I've heard bits and pieces about like the way this movie was filmed, and it's stuff like, you know, because of the realities of shooting a movie that takes place largely inside of a car, like they had to have like 8 different taxis that are all like rigged up in different ways to facilitate different shots, and like have those taxis moving while they're doing the shots. So it's like it's tough to do that and then also like have a convincingly like trafficked
populated
up
freeway. Yeah. But yeah, so you know, you make it, getting back to the original point that Brie was trying to make about like the give and take of Max and Vincent's relationship, where like, no, yeah, Vincent does like actually kind of do some good for Max, but you know, literally Max says that out loud during a key scene in the movie. So we can get to that.
Yeah, but for right now, let's go back to the coyotes. But for right now,
yo homie, is that my briefcase? Fucking...
Oh yeah, right. Because no, here's the thing. Yeah, he's so while he's like tied to the thing, he's like, you know, Vincent's off to the second hit, and he's just like honking his horn, trying to get attention. Like, someone, let me out of here.
Like a group of shitty punks, like walks up and like holds him at gunpoint.
Yeah, just
like, do you not see?
Fucking die? Like due to the fucking swastika tattoo. I didn't even notice that. Like he has a swastika tattooed under his eye.
Man, get out of my head!
But he's just like, you know, he's just like, what, you want to fucking die tonight? He's just like, what the fuck, man? I'm just
look at my hands.
Yeah, I can't
take a look at these hands.
So he's like, is this your briefcase? I'm gonna take this too. pow, just like pretends to like shoot his gun like a fucking asshole.
Dumb.
And as soon as they start walking off from the cab, of course, Vincent, whose suitcase it is, pops out and goes, "Yo, homie."
Like, looking genuinely befuddled.
Yeah.
That's my favorite detail about Vincent in that scene.
Like, are you fucking serious?
Really? Is this seriously what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have to kill a couple of random fucking dudes because they stole my briefcase.
In this moment, you know, I mean, Max had faith in his city to come help him, and, you know, this one goes to Vincent. You know, those guys were dicks. But here he is. Perfect timing. You knew someone wasn't going to walk off with Vincent's fucking briefcase and get away with it. So he immediately notices this, and he's like, "Yo, homie, is that my briefcase?"
Which I do... You were joking about it, but I feel like you pointing out that Max's, like, relationship with the city kind of being tested in that moment is definitely... adds to the idea that, like, although ultimately, like, I think the film sides more on Max's end of, like, how he views things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is still... Yeah, it's a movie that's in conversation with you as the viewer.
The movie...
I'm not joking. This is my actual analysis of it.
Sure.
The
movie is like, which side are you? Does LA rock or does LA suck?
Are you going to be a Santa Claus or a Grinch?
Yeah.
The choice is yours. But yeah, no, so like that... But that goes weird. Let's get back to Yo
Homie, where's my briefcase?
Yeah.
And how, like, Tom Cruise in the matter of, like, 5 seconds, like, triple taps, like...
3 people?
2 people.
2 people. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking awesome. It's as again, people in more modern contexts have been saying it's John Wick before John Wick.
Yeah,
the way that
especially
like the
club scene kind of starts touching on like, oh man, we'll get to it. But yeah, like this guy just immediately, you know, the badass walks up to him with his gun and he immediately like pushes his arm aside and just 2 slugs in the chest, 2 in the other guy, and a shot in his head. He then takes his briefcase from the first guy and puts the 3rd tap in his head.
Yeah,
and then he walks back. He says, "Max, if you keep drawing attention, more innocent people are going to get hurt."
Kind of a stop hitting yourself kind of scenario. But
look what you made me do. I had to kill these guys because they stole my briefcase.
I will say... So,
and also, let's talk about the gunfire.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to talk about to transition into a wider point about Michael Mann as a filmmaker, which is, like, attention to detail... let me look at I didn't take a lot of notes for this movie, as you could tell by how kind of rambly I've been in talking about this film. But, like, Michael Mann, one, when it comes to gunfire, just has the best sound design in terms of gunfire because he understands that guns are fucking loud. Mm-hmm. Like, they're really fucking loud. Like, the way those shots Vincent does on
just
those
echo through those streets as they like
are phenomenal. There's the club scene later on where like a shotgun goes off and it sounds like a fucking truck. It sounds like a truck like had a wheel bottom out from it or something like that, and you just hear like like it's
so good.
It's wild. But the way that I described, like,
also for an assassin, he's just using full force.
The funny thing, the way that I jokingly describe the 2 ways that you can talk about this movie, like either as like a character study or as like a hitman level gone wrong, I think both of them end up still eventually leading to me analyzing it in a fascinating way because, like, no, yeah, you're right, Bridget. Like, he's in the middle of like fucking LA downtown, like in the middle of the night. Like, you can see other people walking down that sidewalk that the neo-Nazi punks come from, but he's still just like, let's fucking loose, because Vincent doesn't have faith in people.
Yeah, he's like, no one's gonna come check this out. Like, no one wants this smoke. Fuck it.
Like, it's it's fascinating. Like, it's so interesting how, like, you can try to scrutinize that detail, but, like, scrutinizing that detail ends up giving you more insight to him as a character.
You can also read his triple tap as being not just precision to make sure the job's done, but an almost OCD. This is how I'm doing this each time.
I think that might be reading a little bit too much into it.
I don't know. I think that's just he's like, this is how this is done, and like that's part of how he like. I think so.
Consider no. You gotta consider the man loves jazz.
Yeah, he knows how to improvise.
Yeah. He loves.
Do you like jazz?
He likes improvisation too much to be OCD. I think.
Fair enough.
But to my original
And
point,
that's why Bree's picking the B movie.
No.
But Michael Mann is such a stickler for details that the way that I describe this movie or him as a director and like the few notes I took is that he feels like he directs a movie as though he were not just conducting an orchestra, but also teaching each individual member of the orchestra how to play their specific instrument. Like, especially when you get, like, I don't know if anyone else watched the featurette, but, like, the featurette goes into detail of, like, how he didn't just give the actors the script. He like forced like the research on them. Like there was no like, oh yeah, you guys can do whatever research you need to get into it. He was like, no, you are going to fucking talk to these like seasoned taxi drivers. You are Jada Pinkett. You are going to go like spend a day with this like husband and wife who ostensibly would be your parents to like inform. Jada Pinkett Smith is barely in the movie. She's in the movie for like 20 minutes altogether, and it
had to be precise.
No, it did.
Yeah, and it shows.
Did.
That's the thing.
It's fucking wild.
It's really great.
It's so insane to consider, like, especially when you think about, like, I know that this movie, like, the screenplay was by a different guy, but like, you have to feel like Michael Mann's hands all over it when he takes that kind of detail with it, especially when, like, in hindsight now, we look at how he literally wrote a novel as a sequel to, like, Heat. He wrote Heat 2 as just a novel before even making a fucking movie of it. The man is... I don't understand Michael Mann as a director because he strikes me as someone who's, like, deeply nihilistic and like really questions like interpersonal relations and things like that. Like Vincent as a character kind of feels like a manifestation of Mann in some ways, but with all of the connections that Mann has to like be a perfectionist in the way that he does with his movies, he has to like still like be a sociable enough human being, like have faith in humanity. Like that, I think that's a big part of why this movie like now sticks in my craw so much, because it feels like the most representative of like the like dialectic that like exists inside Michael Mann's head at any given time. Like Max and Vincent exist in his head, constantly butting heads. Like it's really, really fascinating. It's so cool. I love this movie so fucking much. But no, yeah. What are you doing over there, Bree?
Checking notes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But yes, so we move on to the jazz club.
Yes. The jazz club.
Vincent drags
jazz club.
Max to, like, Max is, I love that he asks Max if he likes jazz, and Max is just like, not really. He's like, nah, you're coming with me.
Yeah, I'll buy you a drink, come on.
Yeah. Just like, it's improvisation, like tonight. You know,
yeah, while they're listening to the music, he's telling them, like, you know, you just got to roll with the punches.
It's behind the notes.
It's behind the notes. It's the notes they don't play.
We skipped over the I Ching Darwin. Yeah. Shit happens. Yeah. Adapt. Line.
Yeah, learn to adapt. Deal with it.
But
Yeah,
it's
in this early part of the movie, after Max has discovered that Vincent's a hitman and he's been like roped into his like activities for the night, he's just like low-key freaking out the entire time. Just like
He's just like Rwanda, like thousands of people, thousands of children dying every single day.
Like that's part of what's so fucking interesting to me. That's another detail to me about Vincent as a character that's fascinating. He's like this weird, like, neoliberal figure because, like, as soon as, like, someone is trying to make him feel bad about, like, a harm that he has caused against another human being, he just pulls out like, oh, what? So I did this bad thing? What about this awful fucking thing? Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Did you join Greenpeace or anything like that? Like, just immediately, like, taking...
Join Oxfam, you trying to donate tons of money, you helping them out? Me, I kill one fat ass who's a fucking criminal and you lose your shit. And like, it's just like...
It's so... And that point is like directly in contention with him earlier complaining about how Los Angeles is like disconnected and no one knows each other. Like, Vincent is someone who like longs for genuine like human interaction and this stuff, but it also seems like he kind of fucking hates it.
Yeah.
Like, it's why he's so interesting to like. It's why he is one of my favorite like antagonists of all time now at this point, because it. Go ahead, Evie. I saw you had something there.
Yeah, like, but also just Max showing concern for the people that he's killed, like, is flying right in the face of his like the idea that, well, like I can just like, you know, speed from place to place and just like dump into these people who I'm supposed to kill for the night, and like it's okay because no one's going to care anyway.
Yeah, no one's got to bat an eye.
Yeah, and so Max like being there and being like, holy shit, you killed that guy, is like it is
constantly. Sorry,
it's like it is like pushing against Vincent's sort of like his like ideology here. And so like I think that's where like his sort of tirade against Max kind of comes from, because
it is a two wolves situation, this whole movie, until its end, where you decide who wins, you know?
Like,
it's
just like, what the fuck, you're not supposed to care that I shot that guy.
Yeah, you're going against everything I stand for.
Yeah.
And then you get like the fucking like jazz interaction where like they like Vincent pays to like have like a
the leading trumpet is just going nuts, and he's like, that man's amazing, so he talks to the help.
I mean, I don't want to get dragged out too much in like the exact details, because I feel like we're kind of losing it.
Sure.
But basically, like, you know, what starts off as what seems like Vincent having like a genuine conversation and a connection with another human being just ends up being effectively another transactional thing, because you find out that the jazz guy is another target that he is supposed to kill.
Yeah, he's the owner of the club that they're in.
Yeah, it starts as, like you say, it starts as such an innocent and fascinating thing where it looks like he's just having that connection of like talking about jazz and this man's past.
And he probably is.
Yeah.
Like, again, that's what's so fucking interesting about
it. So they're talking about that. He's just like, yeah, wow. And then he just mentions like the two people that set off the jazz guy to go, oh, you know who they are. Oh, so that's what this is.
Shit.
Huh?
The way the
life just,
you could see like the guy's like top lip sweating in that scene.
Yeah, that was a very nice touch. I noticed that too. Oh my god.
But
he knows. Oh my god.
And like Vincent like tries to give him an out, but as Max ends up pointing out, is like, it's not really an out, because like technically the guy answered the question right. Where did he go to learn music? He went to Juilliard.
Yeah.
He was technically right.
And Vincent was like, excuse me. He dropped out after a year and then
tracked down Charlie Parker.
Yes. It was just like, well,
It's just like, fuck you. What do you mean?
That's close enough.
even
That would be
gonna
close
let him
enough for
go?
me not to shoot someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and then, like, after he shoots him, like, there's the way that he, like, lingers over the body.
Delicately sets him down.
Not just the fact that he delicately sits him down. Like, that is a nice detail that he does not simply leave the body there. But, like, he spends a while just kind of, like, sitting over him because he, kind of like what Evie was talking about, like, Max has been keeping him grounded this whole time. So, like, this is the first one that Max has seen right in front of him. He has seen the results of a death, but he has not seen the direct consequences of it, like, right in front of him like that.
That's true. He's like, he gets real shaky after this one because he's just like, we were just talking to that guy and I just watched you shoot him in the head.
And I think Vincent, like, can tell in that moment. Like, that's kind of the moment where, like, the cracks in Vincent's armor, like, start to, like, really show.
Like, he adjusts it for Max, you think?
Not so much that he adjusts it, but he realizes, like, kind of against what Max's final read of Vincent ends up being. Like, Max calls him out later as, like, not knowing what's going on with anyone. But I think because Vincent, over the course of the night, has slowly been, like, learning to empathize and understand how Max thinks, in that moment where he kills the jazz guy, he realizes, like, shit. Like, this situation might be going bad. I might have just completely fucking alienated myself from this guy that I've maybe been feeling a genuine connection with.
Sure.
Over the course of the night.
He's at least my ride for the rest of the
Could
for
be
the rest
that
of
too.
the night.
Could be just that too.
I mean, it ends up going into your interpretation of how you view Vincent, because, like, later on in the movie, he literally, like, Max asks him, like, very upfront, like, why haven't you just fucking killed me yet? And Vincent is kind of like, no, there's, like, some kind of, like, cosmic intertwining between the two of us. Like, you have to wonder, like, is he bullshitting Max, or does he actually see that? And, like, I am willing to believe, like, that Vincent, like, on some level kind of sees that.
I think so.
Like, it's so...
Yeah, because, like, we get... there. It's hinted at in a couple of places that Vincent has done this before. Like, hired out a taxi guy or hired out a cabbie for the night to follow him around while he does hits. And then at the end of the night, he just kills the guy. Like...
Yeah. But there's just something about the way the two of them interact that, like, I'm willing... Something in it tells me that, like, no, there is actually some kind of connection going on between the two of them there.
Like the Hannibal romance.
Kind of. Yeah. Like, so similar-ish to, like, Hannibal and Will.
Yeah.
Which, like, can kind of get me into talking more broadly about, like, the films of Michael Mann that I've seen. And one of my favorite, like, quotes I've seen online that I don't think is specifically about Heat or Collateral, but perfectly describes, like, Heat, Collateral, Manhunter, which is the Michael Mann film that he did about, like, the Red Dragon arc of the Hannibal Lecter story, which the quote is, "I fear only one person has truly ever understood me, and I fucking hate the guy." Which I think that, like, perfectly encapsulates the main relationships in, like, all of those movies. Like, they are about, like, this, like, inherent cosmic loneliness that exists in our society today, especially if, like, Robert De Niro and Al Pacino's characters in Heat, the Will Graham or Hannibal Lecter character in Manhunter, or Vincent and Max in this movie, you are, like, perfectionist. Like, by, like, striving for that, like, kind of perfection, you in some way are, like, just deeply alienating yourself from other people because like your passion has become your life. Like it is the thing for you. But you finally meet someone who is also a perfectionist and like understands you, but they are on the other side of the mirror, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate you, man. Yeah. You reflect like the worst parts of me, like right there. Like it's fucking great. I need to watch more Michael Mann films. I'm willing to bet most of them don't fall into that categorization, but that's going to that cosmic loneliness. I don't know. That's another thing that I feel a lot. And I also feel is like weirdly reflective in the like poster for the movie of Collateral, or like one of the more like iconic ones, which is like the shot at the end of the movie with Vincent like sitting on the Max line, but like the entire surroundings around him sitting there are just completely blacked out. Like it's just stark him alone. However, there's like the alternate one that also has like Jamie Foxx amongst the darkness on there too, which kind of like can tie into how do you read this movie? Is Vincent purely nihilistic? Does he actually connect with Max on some level or another?
So how do we get to the hospital again?
Well, it also has the famous tagline, "It started like any other night."
Yes.
Well, they get to the hospital. The stuff with the hospital kind of defuses their conflict after the jazz club.
Yeah, because
the boss calls in and is like, "Hey, your mom's blowing up my phone."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's just like, what's this about your mom? And he's just like, oh, she's in the hospital. I visit her. And he's just like, what, like every night? Yeah, like you can't not show up then. That fucks up everything. Like that, people are going to ask questions. It's going to be suspicious. It's like, I'm not taking you to see my mother. Yes, you are. Get in the car.
Oh my God. The hospital scene.
What a scene.
The hospital scene is maybe my favorite. From a pure entertainment value, the hospital scene is my favorite scene.
It's extremely funny.
They're in the lobby and Vincent is like, flowers. People buy flowers.
Which is another thing that like points to like Vincent having some kind of understanding of like social interactions. Like he, on some level, he like understands how you should treat other people. Yeah. Like there's almost like a romantic element to how he sees like interactions between other people, but it's so deeply alienated by what he does as his profession.
Max is like, what the hell is she gonna do with flowers? She doesn't need those. She won't give a shit. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. We're getting them.
Yeah, people buy flowers, buy flowers.
Buy flowers. So he pays for them. He just goes, here, keep the change. Like, it hands her like a huge bill. And like, they go up into the elevator.
Yeah, and we find out at some point that Vincent, like, he doesn't know he has no family, essentially. He doesn't have parents, at least. And so, like, I don't know. I could see him being like, oh, we got to go visit this guy's parents for to maintain routine. Hey, you're going to go see your mom? Buy your mom some flowers. Come on. Like,
but also you end up finding out later that, like, Vincent's mom died early. So there might be some weird, like, fucking association he has in his brain, too, where he's like, oh, I never had a mom. If I had a mom, this is how I would treat this person.
Yeah, your mother carried you inside her for 9 fucking months. You can't buy her some fucking flowers?
Yeah, that line especially.
Like...
Sorry, I interrupted you, Evie. What were you gonna finish off?
No, yeah, like I think we're aligned on this. Where like he sees as like it's like where it's kind of fun for him to be like to like have to like dote on someone's mom, even if it's not his.
Well, I would say at first it's like almost an obligation or understanding that he needs to do this. It's when they get into the hospital room that it becomes more of the fun thing that you're talking about, because, you know, Jamie Foxx hands the flowers off to his mom and his mom is immediately like, what'd you get me this bullshit for? Like,
I'm just gonna die.
Waste some money on flowers.
It's a waste of money.
And she finds out like, oh no, Vincent actually is the one that bought it. And she like, her tone like lightens up and she's like, oh, they're beautiful. And like,
You bought me my flowers?
during the whole time that like Ida, which is the mother, and Max have been talking, like Vincent has just kind of been like looking around the room, like looking at his watch and shit. And as soon as she like directs at him like that praise, he like kind of looks up and like straightens up like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Yes, I am a goody good boy.
Are you one of his clients? I think I would go as far as to call us friends. And they start talking. She's just like, man, let me tell you something. It's really great of you to come here. My boy Max, sometimes I think you have to put a gun to his head to get him to do anything. And they have a bit of a looking at each other like, yeah. And so Max is just like, can you stop talking about me like I'm not in the room? What's he talking about?
Oh my god. And the way that Vincent like interprets it wrong, I don't know if it's on purpose or if he's just trying to shorten it to make the conversation like end quicker, but Vincent specifically says like he's saying he's right in the room with you. And she's like, oh yes, I know you're here. And it's just like, motherfucker, you know what I meant.
There's also like a little flavor text here. You find out like when she mentions like, oh yeah, my son, he's great. You know, he's got his limo service.
Well, this is how Vincent finds out about like the limo service, the cool groove dream that Max has had.
He's convinced his mother that he's already doing that. And possibly. But you notice there's a bunch of like signed celebrity photos up above her bed.
We need to credit the fact that the Remap podcast by Waypoint is the one, or the Waypoint podcast is the one that like kind of came to this discovery, because they have a whole diatribe or a whole like sidetrack while they're discussing Collateral, where like Austin Walker asks like, what the fuck is happening behind like on the area behind like Ida's bed? And
I don't think I noticed it until our last view through.
They start like trying to decode like who the photos are of, and they start discovering like, oh, those are like literal cast photos of like different like TV shows and shit.
Yeah, it's like a cast photo of Becker.
Yeah, and like they put together like, oh, literally part of the lie has probably been that he's bringing in like signed photographs of these like cast photos of people to like convince his mother of the lie that he's set up for.
And it could also be why she brightens up so much seeing this new face coming in. That's like, oh, this must be someone important and famous.
Celebrity or something.
So like there's so many little wires just crossing over that make all of this connect.
Anyways, Max uses that opportunity to like grab the briefcase and fucking
get the fuck out of it.
He's like, pieces.
There's a chase scene through a hospital that in this day and age would not have gone without being tackled by people going, why are you fucking like bolting through the hospital? But they go out the exit. He's running up this bridge, like this overpass over the freeway, and you're just like, don't fucking do it. He's like about to throw the briefcase. He tosses it over the fucking overpass into the freeway. It's hit by a car. A bunch of money and information on like what the hits need to be are now destroyed for the next two hits.
And you know, Vincent begrudgingly like tackles Max to the floor and is like, okay, let's see what you can really do.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like probably now is the time to like circle back and talk about like the Mark Ruffalo like side plot with like the cops and everything, because now is the point where like those threads like actually start to properly tie together.
Roof bastard shit.
No, not quite yet. Almost. We're almost to the roof's beat to shit. But like, so over the course of the film,
sorry, that was me. I accidentally hit a box with my foot.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the dog. But yeah, so we kind of alluded to it. Mark Ruffalo was working the Vincent's first hit. You know, he comes across the crime scene, and there's like this little occasional tangential thread that they go to of like Mark Ruffalo trying to figure out like what happened to the guy that he was tracking. And, you know, all throughout this, you know, he's been investigating the crime scene, like trying to figure out like, okay, there was a taxi here that had this thing happen. Later on, he was at the hospital at the same time that like Max and Vincent were. and he like goes to the morgue and finds like all the like double triple tap like victims.
Yeah,
And
two in the sternum, one
Specifically,
in the
they're
head.
in the elevator together. Like they're just right.
That happens while they're going up to visit Max's mother. Is they just happen to pass ways and they're both paying attention to their own shit.
And that leads me to end up talking about like another like Vincent detail, which is that like he bothers one to hold the elevator for Mark Ruffalo's
Yeah, holds
character.
the open door, you know.
Like,
Asks him what floor he's going to, hits the button for him.
asks how his night's been going.
Yeah.
Like he has these like social norms programmed into him.
He basically has enough social human norms in him to appear like a non-sociopath when he needs to.
Yeah.
And there's a part of him that seems like he wants to. Like, not, like, to, without the job in mind, like, come off as normal. And
Anyways.
it's like, oh. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so, you know, he's looking at the bodies in the morgue, eventually sees that one of them is, like, another person that's, like, working, like, a part of, like, the big case that's going on right now. You know, he tracks down, like, the FBI agents that are working the case, starts, like, getting connected with them. They're watching a club, the club that, you know, Max and Vincent need to go to re-get the accessories that they need to finish the job.
Primarily, it's going to either be a CD or a flash drive with the actual, like, names and, like, the information to find the people that need to be killed.
Yeah. Anyways, you know, Vincent makes Max go in there because he has to stay, you know, anonymous. He's a hitman.
Yeah.
You're not going to show
So he's
yourself.
like, you're going to go in there and say that you're me.
Yeah, but there's a whole cool, tense conversation between Max and Javier Bardem playing a guy named Felix, who's like the guy that's essentially the information broker in this situation. And, you know, Max finally like snaps into like the adapting mindset, I Ching, shit happens, and like starts pretending to be Vincent in that scene, like fully adapting it, like glasses come off, like he's taken on a new persona, and like
Tells the guy, just like I said, tell those two assholes behind me to put those guns down before I shove them up their ass.
before I beat them to death with
No,
it,
that was it,
specifically.
just really absorbing that I need to come off as a badass, and he like leans into it. And it's just like oh man.
I like that he has the glasses off, but then puts them back on for like one good line at the very end. And it's just
specifically, he's telling Felix that, you know, the last guy that got killed, the jazz man, is sorry.
Yeah.
Like to tell the cartel people that he said he was sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pulls it off, gets the shit they need. They continue along their way. However, during that scene, Mark Ruffalo is hanging out with the FBI agents and notices, hey, the roof's all beat to shit.
Well, look at that cab. Zoom in. The roof's all beat to shit.
the roof's all beat to shit.
We begin thinking, man, there needs to be like a fucking YouTube poop where it's just like the scene keeps going. What do you make of that? The roof's all beat to shit.
Just Mark Ruffalo hyper fixating on the roof being beat to shit.
We need to keep an eye on that guy. The roof's all beat to shit.
You gotta be able to edit it into some Simpsons clips or something. Like it's yeah.
They also listen in and are like, oh, that's Vincent.
Right, yeah.
That's right, because when he's trying to get into the club, he's saying, I'm Vincent. Because when he asks about like the Felix, they're just like, there's no Felix here, get out. And he just has to tell the security, tell him I'm Vincent. I'm Vincent.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, let him in.
Which again leads to more comedy of error stuff because, you know, in the club scene that comes up. However, before the club scene,
roof's all beat to shit.
Yes. But also the next conversation between Max and Vincent where like it's where Max starts to like really try and interrogate like, Vincent, why the fuck are you like this? Yeah. Like, how did your parents raise you? Like, how did you grow up that led you to be this way? And, you know, that's when you find out like, oh, okay, Vincent never had a mom. His dad died somehow when he was young. Maybe Vincent killed him. Maybe he died of like liver failure. we don't know. We just know that his dad is dead.
Yeah.
Like, you have that, like, scary moment where, like, he says, like, oh, yeah, I killed my dad.
Yeah, when I was 12.
And then, like, he starts laughing. He's like, just kidding.
And liver failure.
And you're just like, oh, God, I don't know if you're just kidding, though. And, you know, suddenly the conversation stops as, you know, Max comes to a break in the middle of the street. You see two coyotes cross the street as Shadow on the Sun by Audio Slave starts to play.
It's so fucking 2004 here. Oh my god.
A lot of people make fun of this scene, and
I love it.
And understandably so. And I feel like the main reason people make fun of this scene is because of the way that, like, Michael Mann tends to talk about it specifically. Like, he is very pretentious when he talks about that scene. Like, the reality of it is he saw two coyotes crossing the street while they were, like, shooting that conversation. And he's like, oh yeah, that's good shit. Like, this is natural filmmaking. Took that, spliced it all together into that thing. Is like, oh yeah, it's symbolic. Like, they're, you know,
there are two coyotes inside you. One is the evil and one is the good.
But, like, also I genuinely love that scene.
One is
so
gay,
good.
the other is gay. They're both gay.
Yes.
They're both kissing.
So there is that little thing that gives that everything in this movie pause to just kind of see that happen.
It's kind of a beautiful moment to let everything breathe.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like a calm before the storm.
Yeah. Max lets them go by, and, you know, it's kind of being looked on by Vincent as just like, you'd stop for a couple of fucking dogs. And it's like, there's no words spoken. I was gonna say there's no words spoken, but it almost feels like for a minute he's kind of taken aback by that. Like, why do we fucking stop? What do you like?
I don't feel.
But
like
I think he gets it though. I think, like, in that moment while it's going on, like once he starts seeing them kind of happily walk by, there's something there. There's something shared.
Vincent in the back seat looking on, just like, if only Audio Slave were playing right now. That'd be so perfect.
If that were happening, maybe I would get it. Yeah. Vincent, I got the perfect film for you.
Yeah.
It's called Collateral.
And I can't tell you why people die alone. It's so good. But that plays on as, like, they're heading to the club, and, like, the cops are preparing to, like, meet them at the
cops
club.
are preparing. Felix, like, had a feeling that something was gonna get fucked up with the rest of the hits for the night, so he sent, like, bodyguards to, like, go shoot Max and Vincent if things get weird. Like, it's this whole convergence of, like, everything, like, happening at once.
There's, like, 5 different sets of armed men converging on this one
I especially see the John Wickness, like, before John Wick.
Bridget,
on
go
this
ahead.
one club filled with the people who give the least amount of shits about assault rifles and other guns being there and going off.
No one's screaming and running until guns come out, but they do. Like, it's just that he goes in and breaks someone's neck, and there's, like, fist fighting. But listen, have you ever been to a club?
Let's pull it back a little bit to, like, the thing that I think most, like, kind of leads to, like, Bridget's scrutiny, which I think is fair.
Sure.
Like, the giant van of federal agents hopping out with, like, assault rifles in front of the club, that should have alerted people.
Okay.
I think a lot of people should have been like, oh, I gotta get out of
Especially
here.
like drug lords or whoever, you know, the
Well, I think that dude, the, like, guy who's tied to the case being there is, like, incidental. Like, I think he's just there because he's, like, a big shot, and for some reason or another.
Yeah, there's, like, there's the feds, there's the drug assault team, there's the local cops, which is, like, Ruffalo's gang, there's the bodyguards for the target, and then there's Max and Vincent. Like,
to be fair, like, while all of this is going on and everyone's scoping everything out, like, to be fair, there is some violence that starts happening and like no one notices. But again, if I'm on Molly and I'm getting down, like I'm at a club, you know, someone has a beef with someone else, I don't notice.
Yeah, if you're bouncing to like a Korean remake of a Paul Oakenfold song and you're on
by the way,
party drugs, like
why did they make the sample in the Paul Oakenfold song "Ready Steady Go" Korean for that one? That's not how like a small sample in a dance track. You don't do that
because Michael Mann is a white man.
Yeah, like it's not. Those aren't like
it's
lyrics.
Korean. It's got to be in Korean.
Yeah. But that is where the scrutinization, I feel like, ends. Like, it's understandable that, like, you know, you see that like they just are open carrying those rifles, and like people are still standing in front of that club not being like, oh, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
But like once you get into the club, Vincent's like, you know, kicking people's knees out from under them, like breaking their backs backward, like with weird maneuvers. Like at that point it's understandable that no one's noticing, which again,
it's very quick and very swift how he disposes of them.
Again, thematically going into that like internal struggle of like, do you like LA or do you fucking hate LA, or do you like believe in like the inherent
do you hate the inherent culture of rave?
More so, do you think that like people actually take care of each other in those like big communities, like these big like groups of people?
I'm there to do Molly and dance. I'm not there to be a hero. Yeah. I'm doing my own thing. I feel like that's a very situational example.
Because again, you see all those people still dancing.
They should have really stepped at home with like people dancing on top of the corpse. Be like,
well, this is why I think the movie ends up leaning more towards like Max's side of things, because once guns start going off, everyone's running. That's when you have the moment of like Mark Ruffalo's character coming in and being like, oh, hey, Max, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, I know what your deal is. I'm going to help you. Yeah. Let's get out of here. Like, someone that's more or less like completely random, a random passerby in Max's life is like, no, I got you. I'm going to take care of you.
Like, I know you're not Vincent. I got you. You know, we're gonna get you out of here.
Yeah.
So
that's what I just said. He said exactly what I said verbatim.
I was just trying to get a word in edgewise. So,
Bree, you've been getting a word in edgewise. So you don't need to worry about that.
So, like, this doesn't last for very long.
No.
Because Ruffalo is also the last person who gets plugged in the head by Vincent. He's like, all right, let's go.
No, yeah, Vincent gets his target inside. He manages to shoot his way out of the club. And, you know, you see, like, Mark Ruffalo and Max, like, getting out of the club. And it's like, oh, yeah, we're gonna be good. And you don't even see, like, Vincent, like, enter the frame to take the shots. You just suddenly hear shots and see Mark Ruffalo falling over.
Yeah.
To then have it revealed that Vincent was just waiting by the cab the whole time. Like, it's so fucked up. Like,
you gonna thank me for saving your life?
Oh my god. Like, in some ways, I feel like it is, again, thematically relevant that
this is about how LA tourism ruins everything.
What do you even mean? What?
Tourists, they come in there killing everybody.
These touring assassins come along and kill everyone. What I was going to say is like Max and Mark Ruffalo's character also kind of mirror each other, because like Mark Ruffalo's character is trying to help Max out of this situation. Like, he's kind of a microcosm of what Max has been doing the whole time, but like he gets no reward. Like it's almost like the movie taking a brief second to say like, no, you could also just get completely fucked over by circumstance.
There were several, like, over the course of a subplot, there were several points where Ruffalo's character could have just, like, there were off-ramps. He could have just called it a night and, like, not be in the situation he's in where he gets shot in the head by Vincent.
Once again, sunken cost fallacy. I spent so much time tailing this guy. I gotta get results. I can't let the FBI pull it over.
I mean, you could argue that's what, like, Vincent has when he kills, like, the jazz guy. He's like, I mean, I've already killed, like, 2 people. Why would I just let this guy go? Because he got a question about jazz, right? You know? Like, it's... And same thing, you could say the same thing of, like, Jamie Foxx and, like, doing, like, the 12 years of taxi driving. Like, that maybe there's a little bit of a sunken cost fallacy there as well. I mean, that's kind of what that last argument that him and Vincent have, which is what happens after the club, you know. They're driving supposedly to whatever the next target is going to be, and, you know, finally Max is just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, actually, if someone were to put a gun to your head and say, what the fuck is up with this guy that makes him operate the way that he does, what does that? And, you know, they're basically they've spent so long with each other over the course of this night that they have both kind of finally gotten, like, excellent reads on what each other's problems are. Like, Max is very much digging into, like, no, Vincent, you do not understand what the fuck is up with people and why they do anything that they do.
There is something inherent in people that I think just isn't in you.
There's something that's standard in people that is not there, I think, is the line that he says specifically. And Vincent punches back saying, like, oh, well, you don't act on anything. Like, you are actually the exact opposite of what I initially read you as. Like, what, you are gonna eventually do that limo thing? You're going to eventually maybe call that girl or something like that?
Yeah, all it ever
bullshit.
took was a fucking down payment on a Lincoln Town car.
Yeah, all it took was picking up the phone to call Annie. Like, these are all things that you could very easily pull the trigger on and do. But, and then, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think that Vincent presumes that business card has been there for a while?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because, you know, he did only just get it that night, but he wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
He'd probably been like, you're just letting that sit there.
Didn't he talk about meeting her, though?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Well, that's because he only talks about having met her because Vincent pushes him on it. Because he had seen earlier that he had that card in there.
Well, I feel like when he's initially talking to him, he mentions, like, talking about just picking up this girl, and he was just like, you know, oh, hey, so did you get a date with her? And then he moves on, and that's, like, part of their first conversation, actually. So I think he ties together that that's her card.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair. All very fair. But yeah, and you know, that final pushback from Vincent is finally what kind of like sets Max in motion and kind of gets back into like the nihilism of the movie, but more of the like nihilism complimentary of the movie. Like Vincent's side, nihilism derogatory.
Get it twisted. You're a fortune.
No, seriously, like, Vincent at some point basically says, like, we're all just, like, fucking, like, specks, like, tiny specks on a giant canvas. Like, none of this shit fucking matters, like, at all. And Max finally flips that on him and is like, yeah, you know what? None of this does fucking matter. So I'm going to actually fucking do something with what I have in this moment. Like,
I'm gonna flip this fucking taxi
in a great fucking car crash.
He begins driving like a fucking madman, and you know, so Vincent starts threatening with a gun, like, you know, just slow down, stop doing it. It's just
like, what? Are you gonna shoot me?
Yeah, fucking
results
do it.
Are gonna be the same.
I gotta thank you.
I'm gonna crash this thing regardless.
I gotta thank you for bringing this out in me. Hey, Vincent. Go to hell.
No, he says, fuck yourself.
Fuck yourself. That was it. And then he just swerves the car.
But the key detail to note in that scene
the needle
is
drop.
that the fucking Audio Slave song, like, kind of comes back.
Fucking makes the first needle drop even more. Like, that's what super makes that earlier part a great scene, is that it allows it to come, like, revisit it here. And it's just, oh man, in this, like, fucking, like, characteristic shift in this moment of realization. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Oh my god.
That for me is the big thing that like redeems like the pretension of that initial Coyote scene.
Yeah.
And like the use of that Audio Slave song, because Audio Slave is pretty mid. I enjoyed
I kind of like Audio Slave.
I enjoyed the point that someone on the Waypoint podcast made when talking about the soundtrack of this movie is that it's like the soundtrack for a like 6 out of 10 Xbox 360 game that only had so much of a soundtrack budget to it. And like, no,
I love Haze.
Sure, yeah, like a Haze or something like that, where it's like we can get like a couple of
We can
big
get
name-
some corn.
Yeah, you can get Audio Slave and Oakenfold, and those are kind of like staples.
But you can't get like their big songs. Like you can get like a song, a recognizable song of theirs, but not like one of their like big hits.
Yeah, it's Oakenfold or Crystal
you can
Method. You can pick one.
You can get Tribes.
Motley Crue was already well on their way out by that point.
Yeah, he crashes the shit out of that
Flips and
taxi.
spins that bitch onto its head.
And my favorite detail that kind of like points to how Vincent really does not want to kill Max is, you know, in the turned over taxi, Vincent could have probably like grabbed his gun or something like that and just shot Max in that moment, but instead what he does is he like grabs a piece of like debris from the car and like
Just starts hitting him with it.
Frustratingly whacking Max with it while the car is
It's like,
turned over.
God, you asshole. I
So
can't
great
believe you crashed
physical
the car.
You fucking goober. Well, look what you did.
Just some of the straight comedy of this movie.
Yeah.
And like...
And like he hears sirens approach, so
Right,
he just
approaching.
bails.
Yeah, but he bolts. Like, after all that, he can still fucking just get up and run. So...
Yeah, Vincent is right.
Just...
Part of the implication that like the FBI agents talk about is that he's probably like ex-special forces or something like that.
Most
he's
likely.
probably a military guy, so he has most likely been in some shit and can physically take damage and still move around. So that's why he's able to like just kind of immediately get up and like limp out of there and continue on like the fucking Terminator.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also,
Max-
why he like always shoots for specific vitals, like.
Which is another one of those like movie prep things, intensive movie prep things that Michael Mann had him do. Like you in the featurette, you see him like at the shooting range and like, no, Tom Cruise learned to actually shoot like that.
Nice.
Which is scary to think about.
Yeah.
Do you think he assassinated someone on behalf of the Church of Scientology after making this movie?
I'm not going to put that on record.
Me neither.
Yeah, cut that out. Cut that part out.
This is for Battlefield Earth.
But no, yeah, so he continues on. Max, not as like seasoned, is like still very much like fucked up, like kind of getting out of the wreck. Police car comes along. Dude is like, oh, you've been in a car crash. We're calling an ambulance. You're gonna be okay. Notices the dead body in the trunk, pulls the gun on him immediately, like, get down on the ground.
Put your hands up, go.
And oh god, I love the detail of that scene of like Max at first just being like, yeah, just fucking put me in jail. Like he's saying out loud, like, put me in county. That's fine. I'll go into county for the night.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with this right now.
Before he sees like out of his peripheral that like Annie is the last target.
Yeah, he sees like the prep, you know, and the information on the tablet that he had, and it's like, oh, he's going to kill the girl that like just introduced herself to me.
Yeah, so
he's like, well,
snaps into action, somehow turns around on the cop and like gets the cop handcuffed to the car, takes the gun.
He says, call the cops. I'll be down here.
Steals a random guy's cell phone, they have a rear window moment where he's calling up to, you know, Annie's office, like trying to warn her about Vincent coming. You get some good shots of like from inside of the office building of Max down on the parking structure, which is a great little moment of like just making him feel like so cosmically small, like kind of matching into like that thematic like nihilism of the film of like you kind of being small in the grand scheme of everything.
This little guy is just down there jumping around going, I'm trying to help.
Meanwhile,
Shit.
you have like the force that is like Vincent right in the forefront,
I
like
hadn't even
practically
considered that.
against the camera.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I was wondering. Do you think Vincent knows that Annie is the last target? And like...
I think he has to know.
Yeah, so like is like, because part of the vibe that I got from the conversation, or like one thing that would make sense to me is like part of his like, I bet you wouldn't even call that girl, is just like to kind of like give himself some distance to be like, I bet you wouldn't even call that girl, which is why it's okay that I'm going to shoot her.
He also kind of mentions during that conversation, like, you should call her. Like, life is short. One day we're here, another day we're gone. Maybe he knows that she's about to be gone, too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's totally possible.
Yeah.
But Vincent notices that that he's calling and goes into like horror movie slasher mode and cuts the power for the building. Just like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I'm gonna make sure you cannot call 911 to get help sent here. But yeah, you have a great, like, nice tense scene of her like crawling through the darkness of the building while you see like
I want you to crawl like a baby. That would be beautiful.
it would be absolutely beautiful if you could crawl
All right.
if you could crawl around on the floor like a baby while Tom Cruise hunted you with a loaded pistol. But yeah, you get some of those nice shots. Like, this is where like the darkness of like that digital like filmmaking like really like helps the scene pop, like the way that like the shadow like passes over those like glass windows as like Vincent is like stalking around, like like chef kiss on that. And you know, you think that he's gonna get her, but then suddenly Max pops into the room with a gun. Oh, I guess we didn't mention the part where like Max tries to break into the building by like throwing a trash can
through the glass doors, and it just goes boing.
I think part of the problem is like the way that Max throws it is very like limp-wristed. Yeah. Like it's a very light throw. He does not put his whole ass into that.
One of those Hollywood betrayed you. You think, I throw a trash can and this is gonna break, and he doesn't have the strength to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just like
he both doesn't have the strength and he threw it from the wrong angle. He throws it with like the rounded end of the trash can, so obviously it bounces off.
So he covers his ear with his jacket and just shoots the door and goes in. He's like, all right, now he's into this locked office building. He can go up and try and help her.
Yes, you know, he pops in, has the gun ready to go, and Vincent calls him on. It's just like, what the fuck are you gonna do with that? And as soon as he said, what are you gonna do, shoot me? Says man about to be shot.
Local shooting victim, the last words before being shot. What are you gonna do, shoot me?
And gets a headshot, not good enough of a headshot, like just kind of gets him like across the face.
Grazes.
Yeah. Gives him the Donald Trump.
No. I mean, Max had slightly better aim, but still, it did some like. So it's.
What's the name of the guy who's kind of funny looking in Fargo?
Oh, Steve Buscemi?
Oh. Yeah, it gives him the Steve Buscemi in Fargo, where he's just like cut across the face.
Yeah.
Well, this fight continues on as they start running, and here's another wonderful physical comedy bit where, as they're running out,
oh yes, like there's Annie and Max like get out of the area because Vincent is on the ground. They get like a nice like minute-long head start. And Vincent takes a shortcut by like throwing a chair through like one of the glass windows and like jumping through the shattered glass, but he trips over the fucking chair as he goes and just keeps moving. Like, again, quoting what other people have said, Tom Cruise as a general actor is fine. Tom Cruise as a physical actor fantastic. Like, he is a great physical actor because the way he sells tripping over that, but still just fucking going, like, I cannot tell if that was like an intentional trip, like he was directed to do that, or that happened by accident and Mann was just like,
either way, it was
it's
incredible. Like, just
like, it
jumps on it and slips and he just keeps fucking going. It's like, oh my god. Oh, it's so great.
And you talk about unrealistic things in cinema. The truly most unrealistic thing about this film is that the end of it is a chase scene that relies on the reliability of the Los Angeles transit system, which is not great. But I will say I appreciate that the film that falls into that milieu of Michael Mann movies that are kind of about like modern isolation and the way that we close each other off from other people. I wish I could remember like the specific writings that have talked about this, but like individual cars are like a big factor of like what is like produced like kind of a societal loneliness in people. Like, that is the thing that like makes it so that like people are afraid of like public transportation. People are afraid of like going around on places by foot, the way that the suburbs function, and like keep certain sects of the population separate from other sects of the population. Like,
it's what can make a place seem, empty. When people are so,
especially,
it has like an atomizing effect.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's the word.
Like that individualized transportation has that atomizing effect, and I feel like I don't know if it's intentional, but I think like a nice read of like choosing to have the film center around a taxi service, like a someone that drives a taxi around, which is like one of the closest things to like de-atomizing that kind of individualized like travel, because you are relying on another person to drive you around. It is a more personalized version of public transit, but you are still interfacing
with another human
being,
giving their trust, to that they're going to get you where you're going, maybe even talking to them,
So to have the movie start there and then eventually move out into that grand scale of like the public transit system, where you are getting to like in real time, like as Vincent is chasing Max and Annie through the car, you're seeing like random passerbys be like, oh, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
Like, they don't intervene, but you see their reactions. Like, there's like some people who look at they are shaken. They're like, okay, I don't want to get involved in this, but this is fucked up.
Yeah, they're not on Molly dancing to Oakenfold. They're aware of what's going on, and they're
like,
that's right. It's just like Mad Bull 34 or Blood Sea: The Last Ark.
Can you please make references that the majority of the people participating on this podcast would get?
Yeah, no way. Bridget, say more. Give me, how is it like Mad Bull?
When the final fight with that one guy with the tattoo, he's like, "You're gonna have to rip the tattoo off of me," and then he does through the New York subway system.
How is that like the end of Collateral?
I kind of understand where she's getting. Yeah, it happens on a subway. That's the main thing.
And somebody dies on a subway.
And someone does die on a subway. That's
just a subway.
It's not. Hold on. A light rail is not a subway.
Yeah.
Those are different things.
Are they?
Yeah, a subway is underground by its name.
Yeah. Like, well, not necessarily.
But subways go above ground.
Yeah, some subways do go overground. Like, you look at like Chicago and stuff.
You have to understand how that seems like an academic distinction to someone who lives in Florida. not to dox Bridget or anything.
It's a big place. They won't find it.
Look, we have train systems and we have monorails.
Anyways,
monorail.
Getting back to the topic on hand, I I do feel like there has to be some level of intentionality to like moving from that like more atomized space of cars, especially in the context of a city like Los Angeles that's so fucking reliant on having your own automobile. Like moving into like a lot of like key scenes are taking place in like clubs, taking place in a taxi cab, taking place in a public transit like system. Like it there feels like there's some intentionality to that choice.
Sure.
In how it ties together thematically. But yeah, you know, you get to the end of it, you know, and they have their Mexican standoff where, you know, Vincent finally has them cornered and is like, Max, I do this for a living. You're fucking with my work. And, you know, Max is finally like, fuck it, like pulls around the corner with the gun he has, lights go out, they both start popping off, and, you know, you have your anime, like, someone passed by, put the sword back in the katana sheath, and, you know, Max reaches for, like, or Vincent reaches for another, like, magazine and falls from his hands. He got shot, Max did not. And you get that, you have a nice thematic line throughout the movie of, I just got lucky with the lights, which I feel like ties in together well with that like Mark Ruffalo thing, or even like Vincent's story in a way.
Where he mentions the time that they arrived with the taxi, where he's like,
that like that's another one of those lines that comes back in the end.
Oh man.
But like that is life in general. Like Max literally did just get lucky with the lights.
Yeah.
Like sometimes life, especially once you are at that level of like perfectionism with like what you do in your life, shit eventually just comes down to luck.
Yeah.
Like you can have that stuff designed. Sorry, dog is doing stuff over there. You could have that stuff just randomly decided for you, like a coin flip. And that's what happened in this scenario. And yes, Bridget,
get it twisted.
Yes, get it twisted. And, you know, Vincent takes a seat down on the Max line. Max sits down across from him. And it's funny to me, Bisky, lie down, no barking. That, like, a funny thing about that scene to me is, like, Max is still, like, holding the gun out, even though it's clearly out of ammo at that point. Like, the barrel is, like, cocked back in such a way where it's like, no, there's no ammunition in that bitch. But he's still, like, ready to go. That's how little he understands guns. Like, there's a moment where he, like, realizes he has to turn the safety off to use it.
Yeah, that's when he's going in the office. But he says his thing again. He's kind of blacking out. He tells
the story about says, like, guy dies on the Max. Do you think anyone notices?
Yeah, and in the antithesis to his entire thing, to, you know, Vincent's entire rant throughout this kind of being his view of it, the, like, you know, nobody cares about anyone in this whole city full of this many people. Max just fucking saved a woman he met once by risking his life and everything to do so for the good of saving a life. And that's the antithesis of that guy's view, is like, no, yeah, you can, there's good in the world, you know? Yeah. He is still, like, you know, a force of good. Very intentionally so. And it's just, you know, I mean, in this case, the white wolf in the head won today. And, like, you know, that's... But, like, you know, the wolf in the head that stands for everything good won this time. And it's like, all right, good. But, like, my God. There you go. Then you get the credits as they're kind of walking off of the transit. And, you know, he and her... You got to imagine, what was it? Like, Max has to spend at least one day in jail.
Oh, 100%.
Like, while this is all getting worked out.
Do you think Max would have saved the person if instead of a hot potential girlfriend, it was some sweaty guy named Melvin?
The important thing is he saved her.
If they had like an equally like good conversation between the two of them, yes.
I believe it.
Like, I think they make it a more palatable like presentation with it being Jada Pinkett Smith, a hot woman
She is
for
very
him
hot.
to potentially date. But like the main thrust of what's happening in that scene or throughout the movie is that like Max is concerned about his fellow Angelinos. Like that's just
That's how I
the
read
kind
it.
of person that he is at the end of the day.
Going back to the moment like where like right after they have like their shootout on the train, I love the way that like that moment where the light comes back up and like Vincent's like about to like reload his gun. I love the way that's shot because like it's not clear for a second what's happening. Like it only like starts like you see him like start to reload his gun, but then he just like kind of fumbles with the clip and stops for a second, and then you see just like a little bit of blood in it like on his shirt, and it's just like, oh, he got hit. Like I think that's a really like
I mean, another
that's a great
detail.
moment.
So the folks on the Waypoint podcast don't like it, but I kind of adore that part of that scene is green screened. Like when they're having that back and forth on the subway, like the reverse shot of the two talking to one another, because it adds such an ethereal fucking quality to that conversation.
Yeah.
Like it feels unreal in a way that like something like being in that, if you were in Max's shoes, would. Like you literally just went through everything that you did, and like the city is just like, I don't even know how to describe the way that the green screened background of Los Angeles looks behind the two of them in that scene. It's so I love it. I love that kind of artificiality there. Sorry, I got a dog
Getting
kissing
licked
my
by the
mouth.
puppy.
Hi, baby.
Yeah,
And pulling out
it's
Brian
weird because it is like
action here.
it's like the one wild night is coming to an end, and like you're just starting to get back to like
Jail.
normal life.
In jail.
A night in jail.
Well, jail comes later.
Yeah. And then Annie gets him out of there.
Yep, that's
that-
how our
he's
justice
our mate-
system works. That
he's our
definitely
material.
is gonna happen.
Hey, when you're about to start dating a U.S. attorney, I bet it does.
That's right.
And also, he's now a material witness in that whole thing because.
But yeah, this was an amazing pick. I
Yeah.
really do enjoy this film.
I mean, going into final thoughts on it, like,
Yeah.
Bisky, go to bed. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
Final thoughts. We are 30 minutes longer than the movie itself.
We tend to do that. There's more to say
Lie
to
down.
explain a film than there is
Lie
like
down.
to, watch it, and it's, that's why we analyze. We spread it out.
Bisky.
Yeah, we had to talk
Around.
about fucking Detective Pikachu
Exactly.
beforehand.
That was very important.
Oh,
I wouldn't change that.
I don't
for the
think
world.
anybody was contemplating that.
I wasn't keeping score, so I couldn't tell you, but it's good to know that no one was thinking about that.
No one was thinking about the electric rat. And that's why the next movie is Detective Gumshoe.
Imagine if there was like a Knives Out style, like whodunit mystery, but the detective role is played by Detective Gumshoe from the Ace Attorney games. That would be a very funny movie.
I'd see it.
Okay.
It compels me, pal.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
So basically, before, I'm trying to think of when this movie re-entered my life. I think it was back still when we were living out in Phoenix.
I think so, because I recall you showing me this film a few years ago and me really liking it then too, but I hadn't seen it until you showed me.
Before that, I had not seen that movie since 2004.
Wow.
Like, I remember enjoying it. However, like, over the last, 5 years, this movie has, shot up to being, one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's really good.
It's as, the first real movie that I've gone out and decided to see as like a movie that's tied to like the city that I was born in, as like something that I would say like thematically really resonates with me in a strong way, as someone who oftentimes feels very, very alone. But like as someone who like has, for some reason or another, had existential dread since I was like a fucking child. And like, let's say this movie deals a lot with, you know, kind of that weird loneliness that you can feel. Like how I don't know how many people on this podcast relate to it. You ever feel so lonely that like even when you are amongst like crowds or people you love, you don't feel like you are connected to the people around you?
Yep.
Because I sure have. I
know
but
that one.
like
Every time I go to a Pride event with no friends.
but like
Going to an event with no friends isn't fun.
But this is a movie that really resonates with me on that level, because like in a city, growing up in a city like Los Angeles, I feel like that is a very real feeling. And kind of having this movie that like kind of reassures you that like someone out there sees you. Like someone out there will see you. They may get shot down randomly by a guy, but you know, they saw you in that brief moment, that brief flash of the lights. You just got lucky with the lights enough that you were able to find that person out there and like connect with them in some way or another. Like, I don't know. That has always really strongly struck me ever since I like kind of came back to this movie. So that's my general final thought on this film. Bree?
Gosh.
Or wait, no, not you, because you're picking the next movie.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Evie.
I thought I really enjoyed this movie. I was not familiar with it at all, or like, you know, I knew of it, but I had not seen it before. Jay had picked it, and yeah, I think it's got a very like the strength of the two like main performances in it is just like we haven't even talked about just like how good both of those actors are in this movie. Like Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx are just like both like putting on like fantastic performances as Vincent and Max, and it's like,
and it could have been such a different movie if they had gone with their original casting choices.
we don't have to get into that. You can look it up if you want. But yeah, just fantastic film. Thank you for picking it, Jay. I should also watch more Michael Mann movies.
Bridget, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, it was interesting movie. I thought it was good. I think I like The Guest better, but that's just me.
I mean, The Guest is both a very different movie and a very similar movie.
Similar in terms of guy shows up into person's life and is also
like simultaneously ruins the main character's life, but also makes it better somehow.
My turn?
Yes, it's finally your turn, Bree.
I will say, this film, I mention this all the time whenever there's something I will reasonably rewatch. I have a very ADHD brain. I don't usually like to rewatch things immediately after seeing them, but I think I have in such quick succession of having seen this last, rewatched it now a couple times to like review it and watched it with the other girls here. And I love how much a piece of media like this kind of, as you keep looking into it, you notice more stuff, you know? These many different things that even just as we've been talking about it now, as, you know, as Evie, as you have been bringing up, these little things I didn't even notice. That you just kind of, as you rewatch this, you learn more about it, you learn more about the characters. You know, the lighting is amazing, the directing is amazing, everything about this is really, really great. The characters, the method acting is really good, but there's also the ADRing is really good. And do you know who did the ADRing for this?
Who did the ADRing for this?
It was someone named David Lucrelli.
Okay.
And he actually has his hands in a few other things, and this is really cool. And this also kind of ties into Halloween, you know, because like while we're recording this, you're not going to hear it yet, but while we're recording this, it's still October, and I'm like, okay, this might be a good time for this. Now, I realized that as the ADR recordist in here, he also did the ADR for another little film called Freddy Got Fingered. Happy Halloween, bitches!
Oh no! God damn it!
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, what are you talking about? That's easy.
Oh.
I can't wait to talk about this fucking, like, it's not even a train wreck. There's too much going on with it. Oh my god. This was one of those, we'll talk about it when we get to it, but you all know I've been waiting to pull this. Everyone, thank you for listening yet again.
It wasn't me who pulled the pen.
We got social medias to
Right,
get through.
yes, of course, yes. Go ahead.
We'll miss, like, evil
Oh my god.
evil scientist trying to end the podcast. Put it on the list.bsky.social is where you can find the podcast. You can also find it on putontheList.neocities.org. Any major podcast platform that you tend to go to, you will find us there. You'll also find us on YouTube under Wife City Productions. We have a playlist on there that has our podcast. Bree, you got a plug?
Yes, I do. You can find me traditionally VTubing over on Easy Breezy TV on Twitch. I also have a website now, Easy Breezy TV. That's EAZYBREEZY .neocities.org, which will send you to all of my links, my art, my streaming, all of my various bullshit. And you can find that all right there.
Great.
Yes.
Evie?
Yeah, I'm not really anywhere at this point. You can find me. I do have a blog, and maybe I'll post something else there someday. It's words-by-evie.bearblog.dev, I think is the URL for those. Yeah.
All right. Bridget?
I'm Bridget. You can find me over at Sasquatchulous for streaming and sassy.
What's the website that you stream on?
Twitch.
Twitch.tv/Sasquatchulous.
Yeah, where I play good games sometimes, but mostly garbage.
She can stomach the fascinating things that we won't even touch.
What about your Blue Sky?
Oh, I have a Blue Sky Sass. Yeah, go look at it if you want to see silly images or porn.
Fantastic.
Porn can be silly.
So next time we're talking about Freddy Got Fingered.
It requires being talked about.
It does require being talked about. I'm not looking forward to having to rewatch it. I know at least one of the people on this podcast isn't going to bother with rewatching it because she's seen it before.
But I will.
I'm pointing at you, Evie.
Oh, I'll watch it again.
All right.
Yeah, sure. I can watch it a fourth
I remember
time.
this coming up in conversation to you being like, "Oh, it's gonna be great. I'm not gonna have to watch it if it comes up on top."
I spread it out. I gave us some breathing room
I was
from
joking.
it.
It's part of the process.
We don't have to see it for the first time again. Because, like, there's so much to talk about, like, when you don't know what's about to happen. Oh my god, we'll get into it. But everyone, my name is Bree.
That's gonna be our first 4-hour episode.
Wow.
We're trying to talk about
4 hours, one for each finger.
What do you...
Freddy Got Fingered.
5.
He doesn't say how many fingers. Anyway,
There's 5.
my name is
5
Bree.
fingers.
Let's end this now.
There's 5 fingers.
There's 10.
Fingers.
And I have tongers. They're toes, as they are for short.
Bye, everyone.
I'm stopping everyone.
My name is Bree, that's Jay, that's Evie, Bridget, and there.
Bye.
What reviews connected by cast or crew deciding the next film, that's the gist. Put it on the list.
Okay. No one else is listening. Hello, podcast listenership. This is Evie. I know I haven't been talking much this episode because I've been sick. And so, like, if you feel like, you haven't gotten enough of your girl, it's okay. I'll be back. I'll be good next episode. All the Evie heads out there, Evie Nation, we're like, I'm here for you, love you. And, yeah, I'm just watching. We do these recording sessions over video call, and I'm just seeing. They're getting some food for the Bisco over there.
Oh, good girl.
She's eating good.
Okay, go ahead.
Bridget stepped away. She's coming back now. It seems like everybody's reconvening. This has been the Evie Minute.
Okay. What was happening?
I'm very curious what the Evie Minute is.
The Evie Minute?
That's for me to know and for Jay to find out later.